Hello everyone, this is Richard Carlton. I'm here today with
Nick Hunter. How are you today?
Oh, doing great. And this video is a follow-up to previous videos where we talked about sample user interfaces in the FileMaker platform. Once again, we're talking about if you build a custom application or a custom database, you can throw it together and it can work, but if you want it to look beautiful, if you want it to be visually appealing, then that takes some extra work. So, Nick, what are we doing today?
Okay, so today we demonstrate something that our customer are asking us for a long period of time. It's a multi-platform UI guidelines, right? When I say multi-platform, I say, okay, for desktop, both WebDirect and Mac and PC, and iPad and iPhone. And with this file, we are answering this question here. We are going to demonstrate how you can have very elegant, native looking UI and UX for all the platform. And FileMaker can handle many things. And I think many people will see that things that say, oh, I didn't know FileMaker could do that.
So previously we have released a free UI sample for the FileMaker community. And that's called, I think we called that one Red Downtown. Is that what that was?
Red Downtown, that was the name.
And that was a free file, right? So people could try it and download it. And so this is kind of a follow-on, but this one actually is going to have a low price because it's actually much more involved and much more to it than the previous sample, right?
Yes, that's much more because when you handle layout for iPhone, iPads, desktop, you have many UI technique involved. And so we demonstrate that. And I think the price will be very little, and it is worth it to purchase it because there's a lot of things. And then we're going to demonstrate the file. You will see that there's a lot of things in the file.
And of course, we want to reward Nick for all his hard work. So if you give him a couple bucks for the sample file, then that encourages him to build more sample files for you in the future. So let's get this rolling. Tell us about this Energy UI sample. Walk us through this.
Yeah, okay. The Energy sample. Let me draw kind of the history of this UI. This UI already exists. This is real. This is existing, and this is very important to know that this file is based on real things, right? It's already exists and already in use somewhere in the world. So let me walk through right quick in the file. So first, I wanted to demonstrate to the people the new ability of FileMaker 16 to use online services. This is very important. And in all my demos right now, for the time forward, I'm going to demonstrate this in all my examples. I will go into demonstrate something, one service, one online service in all my file. So here I'm demonstrating the weather. I'm using two services here. The one service get the location where you are. That means we are in Santa Clara. And the other service I'm using is to get the weather. Here, what you see, all the data you see are FileMaker data. I can see, it's not a widget, it's not a web viewer, is actually real, it's real data that is I'm putting in from an online service. So that's great. Okay, that and the map, we all know what the map is. So this is kind of the first thing that is cool. After that, I wanted to show that there's a lot of things going on here, and we make the thing very simple, slick, straightforward, and all the thing you can see is very obvious, right? And so you have here all the list here, the list of things you can navigate from here. You see you can navigate, and of course we demonstrate all the filtering. Here you have a filtering here, and then you can filter the world thing. Here you want to show only the California office, Nevada office, Oregon office, or all office, right? So you have a filter here, you have a search box here. So we demonstrate things like that. Pretty cool thing that the completion bar, and we have another view here where we wanted to demonstrate some kind of a spreadsheet-like UI, and you can see it's very clean how you can present a portal to look like kind of a table, like a number table, when you have a number file, so it looks very cool. We have other kind of data here. This is more about you have multiple filtering here. This is a filter, right? And you can also combine multiple filters, and you have also here the possibility to navigate through the file, through the records. And here you have another documents section where you have another kind of data. So we wanted to demonstrate, let's say, a wide panel of different kind of data. Maintenance is more task oriented, so you can add a resource, and of course we show this thing like that, so you can add a resource. You see, it's very, very sleek. And so when you have invoices, more about adding a product, and when you add a product here, and you can add the quantity. So it's more like a table view. Inventory is more about text and pictures here, and document is more about all the container with PDF and stuff like that. What I wanted to tell the audience here, this is not a task management, it's not an invoice management, neither an inventory management, neither a document management. We use that as a support for our demonstration, but it's not at all feature complete for document management, it's not at all inventory. It's a good starting point, but it's for UI UX design only, and what I wanted to make clear to the audience.
So to be clear about this, so people ask, this is a energy sample file that you purchase, it's pretty inexpensive. The question becomes, can I use this to build out a real solution? And the answer, of course, it's the basis to build out a more complete solution. But as opposed to something like FM Starting Point, which is got a user interface, a different style user interface, but it's still a very professional interface. But that actually has a complete back end. It's designed to be kind of, feature complete, I guess would be a good term for it. It's a good starting place for people to add their own functionality. But when we built Invoices in there, we expect them to be fully operational. We expect the contacts to be fully operational. This solution here, the focus was to make sure that the UI and the user experience were great, and that there was enough underlying framework or architecture that it would demo properly. But in terms of building out the invoices all the way to show that the invoice has a due date and a follow-up date, and it prints and makes PDFs and does all this stuff, that's what Starting Point does. That's not what the Energy user interface sample is designed for. So if you download it and think it's going to be a complete invoice solution, you're going to be a little bit disappointed. It's a interface sample that you can take and apply to your project. You could change the words in here and build it out to be more complete. But once again, it's designed to be a interface and not a functional complete product.
What I talk about at the beginning about a multi-platform file, sample file, right? I wanted to show you now something that is interesting. So you can see that I'm using the file on my Macintosh here, and the file is performing pretty well, and I have everything working, everything's there. But if I'm doing this, you can see that the size of the screen fits perfectly on iPad. So that means what you are seeing since the beginning, it's exactly what you will get on both desktop and iPad. This is where this design is important. It's important because you have both platforms with one layout, and you don't have to make differences between two set of layout for iPad and desktop. And that's what I wanted to demonstrate here, that you can go far. You can go far, for example, invoices, you can go far. This is what you will see in an iPad, right? So you can go far in terms of UI and serving both platform, iPad and desktop at the same time. This is very, very important. So now what I wanted to demonstrate here for you is the iPhone layouts. And this is where the goodness of this sample is. The goodness is how you can handle all of those things. Everything you see on the screen here, from the dashboard, the maintenance section, invoices, inventory, and document, how you can handle all this with the iPhone. And the first thing I wanted you to see here is how this layout is articulated, how it's laid down. You have one section here, first section here, the green section here, right? Then you have this gray section here, this list, and then you have this. So you can now understand how the iPhone layout are going to be built here. You have this first, then you switch from the list, and then you go to the record. So let me show you how this works in real conditions. So I have my iPhone here. So as you can see, we have exactly the same cool online service with FileMaker 16 that you can get information from the web. And I want to start working with the file, so I tap on maintenance, and you can see I have my list. So as you can see here, if I'm going there, let me show you. As you can see, maintenance, so I have the list here. That is exactly the same list. So everything is working here. So when you tap here, you have one record. So you here. I can add a resource if you want. You have the resource here. You can delete the resource if you want, delete it. And then you can add a resource, tapping the button add resource. And as you can see, we demonstrate the new FileMaker 16 card style window that are extremely powerful in an iPhone, because you can do stuff like that. So you have a list, a real list view here, and then you can tap and add. As I add personnel, resource is disappearing from the list. When I'm done, I have all this long list now. See, all the resources. So you have all the, the dates. Date is working. The due dates. You have all the office here. You can change and say, okay, I want this to be in California, and you can edit the text. You can do pretty much everything that you can do in desktop. You can do on iPhone. So when you go back to the maintenance, you have the maintenance list. If you go back here, you go back to the main dashboard. So you go invoices. Invoices is the most important part of it. It's very difficult to have a good invoice management in an iPhone, and that's why if you go on the App Store, you try to find an invoice management as a native app, as in the App Store. You will see you won't find many, because it's very difficult to have one good. And I think we can do things with FileMaker very well. So here, for example, I have an invoice here, right? And you can see that my invoice, you have all the thing here, and you have the total on the bottom, right? So just make a parenthesis here. As you can see, it looks extremely native. It is impossible so far to tell, oh, this is FileMaker. It is impossible to see it because it looks extremely native, and we use all the patterns and all the design guidelines and principle of iPhone from Apple, guidance, right? So when you're here in the invoice, you see all those are the items, right? It's the line items. Each row you can see here. Let me show you here. Each row you can see here are this here. It's a row here, right? So let's say I want to edit the first row here. So you can edit a row. You can see. So you can type here and you say, okay, it's not 70 quantity, it's 50. So you change the quantity. You can add a discount. Say, okay, I want 10% discount. So, and all the calculation is going on. So you have everything that you have in one row on the desktop and an iPad. You cannot have this in an iPhone. So we use this technique here. So you have the item list here, but when you want to edit, you can see here, for example, you can see here, that's the name of the item, and you have 83 by $808. That means this is a quantity by the unit price. This is your total, right? So it's very self-explicit when you present things like that. And let's say I want to add a new line item. You can see here you have add line item. So I have a new item here. I'm editing it. I'm saying, okay, this is, I don't know, it's an iPhone, and I want 25 of them. I don't have discount because Apple is not making discount, and let's say it's 6.5 VAT. I need to add the price. So when you add a thing like that, you can see. So then you go down and you can see your iPhone here has been added to the list. So Invoices is very, very powerful here on the iPhone, because you have a full feature, invoice, like kind of a generator in the palm of your hand, and it looks pretty good. You can tell this is made with FileMaker, right? So especially now that FileMaker added those nice transition. So here you have the inventory on the iPhone as well. You can see it's very clear. You can see how we use the same pattern from the desktop and iPad, and we reuse it on the iPhone with a different organization. But this block little block architecture. You see, like for example, in this screen, you have the stock category, warehouse, office. Those are blocks. You can reorganize them the way you want, right? And so limiting the impact of labels, you have much more flexibility in doing this. And here you have something that's very nice, the document management. So when you're here, you can see you have all your document in the palm of your hand, and you have all the goodness of FileMaker. You can edit and see a full preview of your document here. So we combine all the good thing out of FileMaker with a good organization, a good architecture, and sleek objects that looks and perform very well on iPhone and actually look and perform natively.
Well, Nick, that is really awesome. So once again, this is the Energy user interface and user experience example file. It's not a free file, but almost free. We also have the Red Downtown sample file, which is a completely free solution. The Energy file does have full compatibility with iPad and iPhone as well as WebDirect, so that's nice. So it's actually more full features, why there's a little bit of a cost associated with the Energy sample file. So that's it for now. This is Richard Carlton. If you're looking for additional help or assistance with the Energy file, or you want to get some professional consultation and assistance regarding this design, feel free to reach out to Nick Hunter and RCC and email us at support@rcconsulting.com. And we'll catch you in another video.